Titus. I'm stepping on the back porch. Today we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different ways to use your embossing folders. All kinds of sizes, all kinds of types of embossing folders. So thank you for joining me. If you can't tell, this is my first YouTube live, so just we'll see how this goes. Thanks for watching. We're going to get started with just a couple of general tips. So we'll go down, and I welcome your comments. I'll try, since this is new, it may take me a while to see it. I'm going to try to set that up. I'm going to bring this down to show my folder, and I will come back and respond to comments. Now, my understanding is after YouTube Live ends, I may or may not be able to find the comments and questions. So I hope I will. If I can't, just leave them again. I will get back to you later today. So first, I wanted to just give a couple of general tips. Now, I'm using a Big Shot, which we used to sell through Stampin' Up. We don't. Stampin' Up is working on their own machine. I don't know when it'll be ready, but the things I'm going to show you will work with any kind of machine. And, it's working because I see people on, so thank you. So if you have troubles with your plates warping, one really cool technique is just to leave your plates, leave it all in the Big Shot when you're storing it. It'll help it just stay flat. I just love that idea. And another thing, there is a magnetic plate. There are just different plates. And I know different machines are different. And as you use your machine over time, it can also get looser. So I think that's one of the reasons why we can't always just say this is going to perfectly work. So I'm going to show you what else I have in my drawer. This is my drawer of things. I have a whole bunch. Well, I have more than this, but I have cardstock pieces that I'll use as an extra shim if I need something tighter. I even use my silicone mat. And I have the blue plate we're going to be using later. My card has a blue plate. This is really designed for the new thicker plates. And I'm not going to get into a lot of how to do the different sandwiches, but my word of advice is just to experiment, because you just want something to go through. If it's too tight, try something else. We'll have some other tips along the way, but try some of these other things. If it's too loose and you have to take one of these out, then you try a different plate. That's a really general comment, so I don't know how helpful it is, but I just wanted to explain when people ask, oh, I can't quite get this to work. This is the key, just experiment. Okay, and so we will get started. So that's kind of number one, just looking. Oh, and then the other thing, these newer, a lot of these have a little line here. So how cool is that? So you'll know just where you want to put, to keep your cardstock straight, especially if you're doing something that kind of needs it straight, you can measure it with that, which is pretty cool. So the first thing, this in particular, this is a corrugated cardboard, but some of the others are like that too. If you find that you use this, and so here's one I just ran through plain, and you see when I kind of fold it in the least little bit, I get cracks. And sometimes you'll get these even without that. The thick Whisper white cardstock can be really good at doing this. So when we want to prevent, and see the ends, I have some that are just torn right there. So I think the best way to take care of this is to use a spritzer. So you can use anything you have. And I'm just using water today, but if you want it to dry faster, you can mix alcohol with water, just the cheap ibuprofen, whatever the rubbing alcohol is. But when you spritz your cardstock, and I'm going to turn it away, it's kind of breaking the fibers, making them all pliable. So, and I find even with water, because I have just used water, it dries really quickly. If I were doing it at an event and I wanted it to dry for people really quickly, I would probably add the alcohol. So you can experiment with that idea. And then, aren't these plates just lovely? And isn't it great that they still work? So I just love it. So this I'm going to put through with just the regular platform and one of these. And I'm going to run it through. I'm going to make sure I am not pressing more on the handle. And I'm only going to run through once, so I'm not wanting to get anything, because sometimes I can press on the handle if I need something a little, but see, I'm totally avoiding that handle, so we'll see if that helps. And now when we come through, it's still going to be wet. We'll come back and look at it after a while. I just set this aside. And it is not going to, we'll be able to see a difference in these two when they dry. The other thing that spritzing will do is it can make your, let's see, I'm going to show this this is the basket, and this is just gone through regularly. What spritzing can do is give you actually a sharper, deeper imprint. And we're going to see if this shows up enough to notice this on here. But as crafters, we just, I think we're just good at trying different things and experimenting. So if I'm going to do it away from the camera, getting my whole table a little better. Oh, and that's interesting. So it's a reject piece of paper, so we'll see how that goes through. Just might be some added text on here. So now I'm going to put this through. Oh, Kelly's saying she loves that bottom line on the folder. Yeah, yes, I agree. It's just really helpful. Now this time, since I'm going for a deep imprint, maybe I will run it the other way. I haven't had issues with this one tearing my paper. So you see, it is all about experimenting. And I thought the reason I want to do all these together is because I thought it might be fun to have a place where these will all be listed. So we are on idea number 2, and this is spritzing. And see, I have my lovely little decorations. Now you can see more when it's dark, but I think you can kind of see the difference here of just see how just deeper it is, and even on the back side. So whenever you want to get like a crisp, deeper look to something, spritzing is just, a spritzer of any kind is great to have on hand. Okay, the next look we're going to go for is a quilting look. Now, I'm a quilter. I know some of you are, but I know we all know quilters. And embossing folders just give a great look for quilting. So you can, again, use any folder. This time I'm going to put it right in here on the line. This time I'm using just a plain piece of designer series paper. So I'll show 2 things here. So quilt cards are fun. You're making a set of quilt cards for quilters, also just a really nice gift. I work on an old library table that's been in my family, so it's not the most stable. I'm trying to hold still. Now, I want you to kind of look, you can kind of see that. Then I'm going to do one where I've actually just taken little squares, so this will look even more like a quilt. But this is just a cool background too. So just using your folder on your designer series paper adds some other texture and gives a different look. And it would really help, wouldn't it, if I put it in the folder? I'm expecting miracles out of these scratch lines. Oh, but another hint. If you have a bunch of scrapped in lines and you're doing anything where they show, just put a piece of typing paper, just kind of regular paper under it, and that will prevent any lines from showing. And then you can use these until they break. I have actually had a couple do that, but I have several that all look like this, and I wait till they break. Good, yeah, spritzing your paper is a good one. I think after watching this, why do you do that? But I just want to show how cool is this. This just looks like a quilt. I mean, both of these do. So just remember to do your embossing folder too, as well as anything else. And so now this could be turned into a quilt, and you could add your little buttons or any of your little things. And the next one, I guess I can leave this up here a little more. The next thing we're going to do is double embossing. Now, double embossing just means, I need a piece of paper. Just want to find me a piece of cardstock there. I'm going to show you one that we're not doing. This is what I was going to do, but I'll do it on white. Just want you to notice how you can see lines in this as well as the leaves popping up. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, yeah, one of these will probably be better. We'll take this. We're gonna have gray leaves, so this is some of that. We have crunchy leaves out here now, and I just love crunchy leaves. So I'm gonna go through the subtles first. I like to do that because if anything disappears a little bit, the subtles can be softer, so that's how I do it. But experiment with either way. And experiment with unusual combinations, because sometimes that's where we really end up with some fun surprises. Well, maybe we have one too many. I appreciate, see, I can even do that. I can put in the wrong things, and I do this all the time, but I'll put the wrong plates in. And so then you just stop and think, okay, what else can I do? Okay, so some of you are saying these are new ideas, so now the second time I put this through a folder, so the subtles is probably my most used embossing folder because I absolutely just love the soft look. Now if I take this and put it through any other folder, I'm going to put it through these leaves. And I'm trying to set it side up. You know, we are embossing on one side, debossing on the other. The deboss side can look really pretty too. So check that out when you're experimenting with things, because that looks kind of more, I think, like sometimes like a letterpress maybe, or I was trying to think, but some kind of an antique term I was trying to think of. So check out both sides because you might be just surprised at the opposite side. Now I'm only going to put this through once because the more this would go through, the more it would take away from the first embossing. Oh, good. Janice said you just found the chat option. See, and I don't know anything about this since this is my first time, but I hope you can see this, but how cool is this? You know, I do Facebook Lives a couple times a week, so this is just my first time on YouTube, and it's just funny how it's a little anxiety-producing trying to do something totally different. But isn't that just a cool look? And so while this is double embossing, and I'm going to do another thing with double embossing, but what the other thing is cool about this is making, okay, if you're going to emboss something that, if you want sentiments on your card before you emboss or stamped, so this is stamped first, colored in, the same if I were doing sentiments, you're going to put that on first before you run it through your embossing thing. And then this is really cool. This is actually double embossing, but do you see how this looks? See if you can tell that this looks like canvas. And I think that is just a cool look. So what I'm going to do is take my subtles. There are a lot of scenery, any of the scenery stamps, you know, anything that could look like a painting, a lot of the flower ones. I don't think it matters which way I'm doing this, but I'm just going to put it in. The flower ones, think of anything that you could paint on a canvas, and I think this is just really an awesome look. So I'm just going to put it through one way. Good, Kathy, I'm glad you find it, and I'm glad you guys are doing comments. I'll have to come back. You know, it's my first time, so I am, and I am on live. But yes, you are here, and I am live. Okay, and this is cool. Now do you see the difference? I'm just going to point that out. And both are a cool look. This looks like the subtles folder. Oh, I'm learning. This looks like the subtles folder. But now when I run it through the folder the other way, and I'm going, yeah, I know, I'm trying to line it up. Let's see. I better do it this way and put it down on the fold. That makes much more sense on that line. See, I'm using that line to get it straight. And now when I do it the second time, I'm going to make sure I only go through once again. I don't want it to start thinning out the old. I want both to show. And if I did this a bunch of times, you would not see the first embossing. Okay, how cool is this? Can you see that this looks like? I'm not showing finished cards today because these are just all techniques, but doesn't that look like a canvas painting? So think of all the things that you could do with this, and you could make this an antique look. So, okay, so that makes sense. Oh, see, I can't get distracted by too many comments. And so as we go along, so that is that one. And that was, okay, that was number 5. And now we're on to number 6. And this one I'm just going to show, because I'm also showing it on the next one. You can ink your folders, and I'm going to do that on the next one. I'm going to use a brayer and ink on the next tip. So first I wanted to just show, here we're using the wood grain, and here are some lovely samples of just the paper. Now I'm going to show you what you can do with. Now these are some that have just been inked first. So I'm using the same colors as down here. So for instance, this, and this just has a light color under it. This one has, I used soft suede. Here I used, I think, safari sand. So you can do things to match whatever you want, but do you see how that really gives it another depth and look like that? So here's just more. So you can go for a really subtle look, or you can go for a dramatic look. And it just, even this is a very subtle look from this, but just see how it makes it look more aged, for one thing. And so this works with all kinds of things too, but just kind of a fun look. And that one's just a wee bit different. I don't have another, but here's a red. Do you see how just the difference, just a little bit subtle there? So that is the 6th idea. Now the 7th, we're going to stamp on our folder actually. So on this technique, I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to use a brayer. And so on this one, now let's see the side I want opposite. So on the back side of where this says Stampin' Up, this is where I am going to brayer. And I am using Sahara sand, slate. So I am going for a very light color. I could be doing this in a dark blue. You can, do this with anything and get really creative with it. And notice when I'm doing this, I'm not doing this because this is really only getting ink on one part. So I am going up because I want the whole thing inked. Even with this color, how much ink I put on is going to determine how dark it's going to be on here. But this is enough because this is just going to be a little look here. And then I'm going to stamp. So I'm going to tree this. So I'm using Mossy Meadow and a tree from, I think it's in the woods. I was in a hurry with this one. I didn't put doesn't even have the label on. But if you notice this, and I want, I can't do it this way or my branches will all be going down. So I'm going to just put this in. And I'll do another one because I'm kind of doing a little woods look here. I'll do another one here, another one there. I'll do one off the page that's going to be really light. So have you tried this technique before? So this is just really a fun one. Then, now this time I'm going to want my card, of course, to be down here. So I will, let's see, I'm going to put it right here in the middle and close it up because, that's going to be what it's going to be. And then we're going to put this through. The interesting thing with lives are you can't undo anything. So, it either works or it doesn't, or we all learn from it because I do something wrong, and that works too. So think of all the things you could put. This woodland step is perfect for this. Think of all the things you could put, any kinds of forest behind. You could put the deer, you could put deer behind, pickup truck, anything you want going through the woods. Okay, so we'll see how this comes out. How cool is this? So anything where you want things that are kind of like peekaboo behind there, I think that's really an awesome look. So those are different ways to emboss on the brayer ring. Okay, so that was number 7. Oh, and by the way, if you hit the subscribe button and then the bell after that, you're supposed to get notifications when I go live. I'm not sure how it works, but you know, it's always good to know. Okay, so our next one, we're going to actually watercolor on our folder. This is watercoloring on a folder, and I'm going to take different embossing folders. We're just doing that to have a lot of different looks here. And I'm taking gray granite and tile terracotta. I'm kind of look for a little bit of an aged look here. So I'm just going to kind of randomly sponge around in here. I'm not going to even try to get everything. It's just kind of for a interesting look. Oh, look what I just did. See what that gets on. My jeans kind of take the bulk, brunt of it all. And then the gray granite, I kind of thought these two colors kind of just reminded me of aged tile, and that's kind of what this looks like. And again, this is going to be different every time you do it, and I actually like techniques like that because it's fun. If you're going to do this, make several, then you spread them out and look at them. And okay, and I'm going to spritz it. So here's where the watercolor comes in because I want these to blend. And then putting watercolor paper in here. You could try other paper too. It probably works too. And it's interesting. You know, I actually meant to put it on this side, but I put it on this side. So we're going to see how it looks. We're good at using whatever, but that wasn't the plan. So see that. So now we're going to see, I'm getting too many plates here. This is, I just knocked the camera. So making sure you're awake. Okay, now we're going to bring this through. Now I could add more or less water, and that would also make a difference on this. I could add more colors. I could put color in just a little part of it. Yeah, Stampin' Blends, you don't want permanent things. Now that's what Karen says she's found. We can't use the blends. No, because they're anything that's gonna, yeah, watercolor is perfect. Anything you know that you can just wash right off. Yes, Tim gets a buy today, so we'll just kind of see. But look how this looks. This actually looks like when it dries, it's gonna look like an embossed tile. Here's one I did with, it had a different color, but it was similar. So this one's dry, but you know, that's really a fun look, and especially for, you know, for the right card. And so if you were doing like the swirly, what I'm gonna use later, like something that's just really fun, you could do some bright colors. So just make a great background for things. Thanks. Okay, there goes that one. A couple of the messy ones, you know, I'll just send with Tim to set aside. Okay, so the 9th tip we're doing today is partial embossing. And we're gonna do this, let's see, we're gonna do this a couple of ways. If I have my, oh, I'll have Tim pick up the other. Okay, so this is gonna be partial embossing. So here what I've done, I am going to make a card. Oh yeah, I did really want it to go, I think, this way where it goes up. See, we'll change this. Oh, no, they're both going down. Oh, there we go. So I took one of the thicker chipboard ends on, you know, papers that come in the designer's paper. And you know what, I'm gonna just stick, I'll just stick this on here. Tim, could I ask you for something? Okay, so I just cut a shape, and I want to make a card where it's gonna be blank on the inside, or, you know, not embossed, and so you can put your words on here. So I'm going to just line this up where I want it to be. I need some of the things on there to the right that have the, lower down to the right. Okay, this is like right there. No, right where you were. Those things with the yellow. Close to you. Or it'll be me getting up to go find them. Yes, we'll use that. Thank you. Let's see. You know, I would, You might want to put this on a little better, but for the sake of showing what I'm doing, I would attach this a little better. And you see my paper is under here. So now when I emboss, these parts will be embossed because this is going to push down harder. And this part will be blank and it will be perfect for stamping words on. Oh, good. I'm thankful for the nice comments, you guys. I love it. I just really appreciate it. Now, the first thing with this that I need to do is figure out the folders because this is obviously going to be a little different. Let's see if I can, well, we'll try it. I'll try it like this and maybe it will work. Okay, I go through and it's not thick enough. And so when I did this, this is now when oh, that's not gonna work. I better fix this. I think Post-it note isn't the best idea in the world, but we'll take it. We just might get an interesting design. So what I ended up finding that worked was using my blue plate and 2 of these. So, you know, but this doesn't mean this will work for your machine. That's what I think kind of just interesting about this. You just kind of have to do a little playing around and seeing what works. So I'm gonna put these on and hopefully it still works. This is what worked, you know, the other day. Take these off. And when we take the paper off, it did not work. Okay, I have to go back to the drawing board. This one did not work. This is supposed to be blank inside. So I might have put, no, but it's not. You can see a little bit, but it's not. I wonder if I have the one I did. I think I put too much on. Okay, let's see. Do we have any other plain papers there, Tim? That's what I really needed to bring out was just some plain papers. We'll try it again. We can't give up with just, that's okay, I'll use this. Okay, I'm gonna put another one in. My thinking is, that's why I wanna do this, because I'm gonna tell you when things go like this and then I think, okay, what didn't work? And you know what? I had too much pressure on it, that it actually did bump down and get this part. So that's what I want to not do. This paper is too big, but since we are just doing this for experimenting, we are totally fine with it. This cannot be, I'll just put that over there. It'll run off the edge, okay. And I'm gonna put through something, I'm gonna do just the blue plate. I'm gonna leave those off. And we'll see if this is gonna, you know, we could be here for an hour trying to figure out what sandwiches, but you know, it is part of playing. Everything we do is playful. So keep that in mind and you just figure out new things and it's just part of the process. Oh, much closer. Okay, I would go back to using what I would use. We'll try one more, but do you see how this is right? You know what? This just got goofy. Oh, so it actually did work. This just slid because I didn't have a good thing. But now if you see this, do you see how this is blank? I could have a whole blank part in the middle if I wanted to do, like say I want to do some words and a cute little stamp there, and I just wanted this to be a colorful thing. Or here I'm just going to use this one for words and go up angle that way. So that actually did work, but I'm going to show you one other way here. So this is the other one. Now this is going to be very similar. This time I want the whole inside to be blank. I want to build this as a frame. And I could have used this chipboard. So this was the first one I did. And instead I used the white ends and I did 3 of them. I found that 3 worked. Yeah, 3 worked. So what I did was this is the paper that I'm using, so it's just thicker. I put out 1 template and then I marked this so I knew where to put this. So I cut out 3 of these and then I glued them together. Oh, and I know why I did that because this wouldn't go through, I was assuming it wouldn't go through the chipboard, but going through this way. So then I have my little sample right here. Emily says she likes that I'm not perfect, makes us feel better. Well, you know, I think it is good when things don't work, but you know, the other thing is I could just go back and delete this part. No, I'm saying that, but I wouldn't know how to do that. So no, I can't. I'd be deleting the whole thing. So then I've taken this and you see I'm using this in the same way. So this is maybe the one that I actually found that I was using with, Okay, let's try this. First, I'm just going to try it with the blue plate. The blue plate special here. We'll see if this goes through. But this is exactly how I do things. So I'm hoping that's helpful because sometimes you can think, oh, this doesn't work. But it's really about your machine. It's about all the combinations together. And we'll see if this was enough. It did not feel very tight, but we'll see if it was enough. Yes, it was. Okay, so see, that worked. Now I could make it a little darker here. So I don't know if you're really going to see this a lot. I'll try to bring it a little closer. Can you see how this is left plain now? So now I have a whole inside that I can decorate and leave, and then this will be a frame. Now I think it would be fun if I wanted to accent the frame. I could put this right over it, and I think it'd be fun to do. I don't have a marker here, but you know, you would use a marker with your, this isn't even on straight. You'd use a color marker, the fine point end that went with your thing, so it'd probably be a lot lighter. But to see how you can even create a frame and then put your other things inside. So I think that's it. Yeah, trial and error, going great. But that is what we crafters do. And you know, sometimes we find that when we make mistakes, we come up with the best ideas. You know, one of my favorite sayings is, a lot of layered cards didn't start that way. You just add a layer to cover the mistake. And if it doesn't get too thick to mail, you're just all good, right? So, and this is really what I love to do, is to encourage you to just play with ideas. So the 10th and last idea is just to play with different materials. So we're using this, you know, the one that looks like a blanket. I can't remember the names, but you guys will know. Look how pretty this is, done in foils. So I think these are all, you know, so along with the DSP, we're showing that that's a really great idea to do, but so are the foils. And here is vellum, and I think that is really lovely on vellum. Now, vellum, you can attach to a color, but also like through a window card. Vellum could be really pretty, kind of showing a sneak peek of what's behind here and opening it. And the same with window sheets. And I don't know how closely, again, you can see this. Oh, yeah, right here, so I have to find the right side, but if you can see that, it makes a really cool look. And this, I think, would be really cool as a window sheet, because you really will see through, but it's kind of like looking through well, this would be like a frosted window, and this would be like looking through a window that has this etching. I think it just makes a great look. So that is it. I hope you've enjoyed these 10 tips. So so they're together to go back and be reminded, because then you'll get much more mileage out of your embossing folders. Now, I would love to have you leave questions, comments, and anything else that you would like me to do things on. I would love, what I'm going to be doing with my YouTube lives are things like this, like 10 ways to do this, 10 ways to do that. So I'm always loving ideas, because then you'll know where to go to find these 10 ways to do that. So thank you for watching my very first. I appreciate you, and I will go back looking. So thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.
The trick, Karen, is how to turn this off, because last time we had trouble finding it.
We'll see if it's a longer. I will put in the show notes below a link to my mailing list and just any other things that you might want to know. So thanks.
Because there is no stops mail. Are you sure you want to stop?